Good morning. Welcome to Investigator News Morning Weather Show. Boy, what a weekend. I almost want to say lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. But it's earthquakes and more earthquakes and hurricanes. Oh my. And boy, what a weekend. Um, Three dead in Puerto Rico, and they're looking at a category three right now. I'm going to get on with the weather. I have a huge report for hurricanes and update, and a huge report for earthquakes, and even more watches for earthquakes. And I got to say, last week, I hope you watched because I got it right. I got it right. I said Mexico, and Dutch Sense was saying Northern California and maybe Washington. And lo and behold, it hit Mexico. I didn't expect it that big though. Oh, 7.6. It came up at 7.8 to begin with. And then when they measured it all out and did the averages, then they put it to a 7.6. All right, so we got our beautiful weather lady, Miss Davis. Now, hopefully, she does the full thing. I kind of like that, so we'll see what she has for today. So here we go.
Here's a look at your national forecast. Happy Monday, everyone. And we are starting the week with some showers in the Northeast. Now, the heat is making a major comeback, and you can see that here from the Midwest down to the South, the same. Temperatures are going up, and we have a bit of a summer heat wave in the forecast for this week. Now, out to the West, temperatures are cool. Take a look at that, especially along the coast here. We're going to have 70s in Los Angeles with some rain. Now, on Tuesday, more of the same. Temperatures not all that warm, even inland, and we will see some rain for the Southwest. Now, down to the south, the temperatures continue to climb on Tuesday. Plenty of 90s popping up. We'll have rain over Florida and then up through the Midwest. Well, temperatures really rising there. Some thunderstorms likely in Chicago, a high of 89 degrees. And for the Northeast, well, we'll see that rain linger mainly through northern New England.
Oh, wow, 98. It was 98 for Illinois. We had oh boy, it was 93, 94 here with a heat index of 101 yesterday. So it was hot. Uh, so I know I want to get going on this with Fiona. Um, it's definitely, well, let me get
Fiona
going
is
on
the
here.
first major hurricane of the Atlantic tropical season. There it is, a category three storm with winds of 115 miles per hour. And this storm isn't done strengthening. Heavy rain still coming down over the Dominican Republic. There's a look, the latest watches and warnings. And today, this storm will affect the Turks and Caicos Islands and southeast Bahamas. Now, there's a look at the track. The storm will turn to the northeast and is expected to become a category four storm with potential winds maxing out at 140 miles per hour. Later this week, this storm will likely interact with Bermuda. So it still has a long ways to go, and this is a very dangerous, powerful storm. As far as the U.S. goes, mainland U.S., we're just looking at the threat of large swells and drip currents. There's a look at the additional rainfall that is expected with this storm.
Okay, three people are dead as Hurricane Fiona devastates the Caribbean, strengthening overnight to a Category 3 storm as it barrels towards Turk and Caicos. Wow. Uh, Millions in Puerto Rico are in the dark, and the entire island is without power. That's right. This storm passed over us on Sunday, but it continues to deal with the rain right now. It's still moving in behind. The United States and is making rescue and recovery operations there very difficult. We are seeing a video across this island of incredible rescue efforts taking place, flooding everywhere, not only in the mountains washing homes, but some right off the sides of mountains. But entire neighborhoods once again underwater. We saw incredible scenes for Puerto Rican national for Puerto Ricans. National Guard and people are being rescued, holding on to concrete pillars, holding on to trees, trying to get out of the flood water. A lot of people spent the night last night in one of 128 emergency shelters. We have been set up across the island. Um, a little bit of progress. Um, Very little reports are coming out. And here in the past hour or so, from Luma Energy, they manage the electric grid here of there. I'm sorry. And on the islands, they say about 25, 250,000 customers have been brought back online. And this is considerable progress considering they have been underwater. And over the past 24 hours or so, they still have about 1.1 million customers um, to go. And everywhere you go on the island, you can hear hum of generators. In some of the smaller neighborhoods, as people try to power their own way and make their basic needs met for a day-to-day basis. Meanwhile, Fiona strengthening to a Category 3 continues to head north with sights on Bermuda. It could be a Category 4 by the time it hits the ground there at Bermuda. Oh boy, so wow. Um, what a weather report. And I was glad I got in depth info from the Weather Channel. It was all written out for me. And I'm glad I was able to bring you more info what's going on in Puerto Rico as far as the power outages. Um, Now oh boy, just real quick, I just want to say NOAA deploys new hurricane technology to improve forecasting. They say it could be in effect very soon. Uh, so the earthquakes, oh boy, here we go. Let's move on to what is going on. And as you could see, we had the one in Mexico. They said a 7.6 in Aquila, Mexico. That's where this is at. They have had aftershocks, very strong aftershocks. 5.9, which is huge for an aftershock, and then another one at a 4.7. So we started seeing it go down. My concerns is up around Littlefield, Arizona, and I'll tell you why here in a few minutes. Um, we had a 4.4 in Littlefield, Arizona, and along the same kind of fault line. White City's at 2.9, and then Sears Valley. Now, we did have a 4.0 in Covelo, California. I have a forecast for the West Coast. And as we know, it's going to go across. It could go up or it could go down. It is so, right now, it is so, we're unsure whether it's going to go up towards the West Coast, if it's going to go down to South America, or if it's going to bounce back. Um, um, you're the only one jumping, right? It's okay. Everybody's still asleep, Susan. Uh, so I'm it could what they call leapfroggy, of either north or south, because usually it goes south, folks. But in the last month, what I thought, what it couldn't go backwards, it did. It went forward, it went backwards. These earthquakes, so they're very they're it's really a guess, even with Dutch sense. And I hope you guys watched him over the weekend. Now we had one of the biggest one. It was in Vanuatu, a 5.1. Uh, Now up around Japan, Fujioka, they got a 4.5. And then I do want to go up towards Alaska, um, with around the Kermadec fault line or island. King Cove, Alaska, 4.1. Chinook, 4.9. Over into the United States, a 2.9 in Mammoth, Wyoming. Now that is close to, let me see, I got all kinds of info here written down for you guys. That is close to Yosemite. Now, Yosemite, when I looked today, was very active with a lot of 2s and 3s. It's not showing up on this, but I had to go and look and see that it was rumbling. and of course around the volcano in the northern part of Yosemite. Um, then we have, I want to move over just a little bit. We had one, Sagres, Portugal, and that's close to where we had the big earthquake over there off the coast of Africa. There is one down on the mid Indian Ridge of 5.6, which is big considering some of these are very small, like Pagar Alam, Indonesia 4.2. These are pretty small. Then they had one in Guangdong, China. Yellowstone. Yellowstone is having twos and threes. It's in the northern part of the park, closer to where the volcanoes are. The smaller volcano just north. They have been sitting about ones and twos. Now anything over a two, Beth, you might want to listen to today's earthquake report that I do have. Um, Boy, I don't like this. Okay. I'm going to get through this today because California is my home, and that's the biggest target today. So Yellowstone was having ones and twos. Now anything over a two kind of gets the lava churning. It doesn't mean it's going to explode. It doesn't mean we're going to see anything come out of these volcanoes. It just means it churns the lava. Now, I do want to show you, of course, this globe. Now, it doesn't look all that bad, folks. It's very light compared to what we've seen, Susan, isn't it? It's real light. Now, we're going to go over here to the States, and this is, you're seeing right there where it hit Mexico, and then all along right around Arizona and Mexico, they're seeing a lot of activity. So that's what I wanted to show you, is that there is a lot of activity, but they're not showing anything up around Yellowstone. So, so we're going to keep an eye on this today. There was a tsunami warning for Mexico. It was right. They said a 1 to 3 meter in was the warning. Also, a hurricane in also the hurricane that is flowing down there towards Mexico, and they're also worried about Asia at this point. Watching the West Coast today, also the East Pacific, Hawaii, and all the way to Papua New Guinea. A 4.3 in Arizona, which is very, very rare, folks. Arizona usually does not get earthquakes. Maybe a 1, maybe a 2, like White Cities that we've seen, but never like this. This is very, very rare. A large earthquake, what they do is they ping pong, just like I've said before, they ping pong back and forth. So that's what Dutch Sense is saying, that it could ping pong over to Asia. And you see, I've got this all written on paper. But he says possible earthquakes in Chile as the shaking goes down and around, or as we have seen going backwards. It could be the West Coast. The West Coast is definitely, we see a quiet zone. Let me pull this back up so you guys could see this. Let me increase it. There is a quiet zone from Southern California all the way up into Alaska, where we see a lot going on in Alaska on these rings. It is very quiet. And that's why he is issuing extreme watch for Northern California. That's where he basically guessed that this big earthquake would hit. Now, if you weren't here at the beginning of the show, Susan, last week I said Mexico, and lo and behold, it hit. I'm not proud of myself that an earthquake hit there, but I was right. And I'm saying that Northern California um, is extreme, folks. Um, oh boy, I and Dutch Sense says it too. And not only that, for maybe even a bigger one to hit in Arizona. So his warnings for today is in between Arizona and the state of Washington. Um, so, um, and I told you about Yosemite and the swarm around Mexico and Arizona. It basically a big watch zone. Also, he mentioned watching out for volcanic activity in Mexico today. So there we have it. Does anybody have any questions on this earthquake? Because I still have more to go here. Um, with earthquake. Okay, now on top of the large M7 striking both sides of the Pacific, something happened that Dutchson's wanted to bring to the attention of the viewers. He was gonna um, he was thinking on talking about these locations that have got activity. When we seen one of the first ones hit in Arizona. Now, a 4.4 earthquake have now struck both locations, Santa Rosa, California, and now Northwest Arizona. The locations in questions are star fort shaped, but way bigger than we've ever knew existed. This is a continental sized. Also, it shows a 14-mile spacing on the islands, plus um, uh, a man-made shape of a pentagon making up micro-Asia, as well as he says, a Nan Madol star fort on the east side of of a pentagon in Micronesia. Uh, so a 1,400 mile spacing can naturally happen. What he's talking about is in between all of these big earthquakes, the 7 to the 7 to the 6, is all 1,400 miles apart. Some of them over in Asia are a little closer, but for the most part, they're about 14 miles apart. Um, and now, what meaning the islands were built a very long time ago and thousands of feet high on the ocean floor, which is a good thing. But they're rising is the thing. When earthquakes hit, it pulls it up and it rises. Now, the Star Fort in the Mojave is 300 miles long and has huge military bases on both sides, including 29 Palms military base, Area 51, with the nuclear test sites on the other side, with Vandenberg Air Force Base in the middle and tip of it. The other Star Fort at Santa Rosa is 17 miles long, and it backs up to another volcano near Clear Lake. And Clear Lake is definitely a volcanic field. None of this can be overlooked. And um, you know they can say that he Dutch Sense wants to say, they keep saying he's crazy or he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he has been spot on. And he said he loves everyone and the truth shall prevail. Um, so there are what he's talking about is these mountain ridges and with could be volcanic activity in them. So um, go ahead if you got a question, Susan, while I'm on this. So what he's talking about is the ridges that run in between where these earthquakes are, which, like in Yellowstone, uh, when you have a lot of earthquakes, then you start seeing activity in a volcano. Now, these ridges that are popping up, he claims they could be volcanic. Um, that Jeep or earthquakes because bigger tsunami. Um, uh, um, um, oh, okay. Karen is talking. I think that Jeep or earthquakes because the bigger tsunami. Um, the deeper, not Jeep. The deeper, or she had a typo there. I had to put her typo up, but I won't. Are tsunamis more common with deep or shallow earthquakes, or does it matter? I'm thinking, when we were in Eureka and had the big one, I'm going to pull this down. Uh, uh, it was a deep one, and it had a possibility of a tsunami. And of course, everybody ran to look at the tsunami. I can't figure that why people want to run and look at a tsunami because they're deadly. We've seen what it did over in Indonesia a few years ago. Um, I would say it's more deep in the deeper quakes than the shallow, but the shallow ones can cause them if they're big enough. If it's shallow and let's say it's a 7 pointer, you will get a possibility a of a tsunami. Now you can look up tsunamis, USGS tsunamis, and you can look and see the buoys. There's tsunami buoys all over the Pacific, Atlantic, wherever the oceans are, and they do the rise and fall of what the ocean is and whether or not you're going to have tsunamis move along shore. And with these buoys, it's great because they're able to give people time enough warning to get out of the area or off of the beaches. But as we know, like I've experienced, everybody runs to watch the tsunamis. Um, so I hope that answered your question. Um, and boy, today has just been um, busy for all this weather news. What strikes me is why didn't we hear about Alaska flooding? There, the rains were so bad it flooded up there and washing homes away. That was the other one that came up that not many are paying attention to. We're so a lot of rain and flooding, and it was washing a couple homes away. It was basically causing massive flooding in some of the cities. And we were so caught up in Fiona and the earthquakes. And I believe that even the Weather Channel didn't catch much of uh, the flooding that's happening up in Alaska. So there is issues up there also. Um, and then um, I think I got it all. So Fiona will be going towards Bermuda, and a big, huge warning for the West Coast today, um, or within the next few days. And now I just seen that we had another earthquake in um, Covelo, California again. Now there's been a 4, and then we've had um, and then another one of 2.6. So that's 2 just within me sitting here talking to you guys. So it's now got 2 in Covelo, California. Now, Covelo, California, let's see if I can get up close. Beth, do you know where Covelo is at? I'm trying to increase it. I'm thinking it's real. Well, it's away from the Bay Area. It's up north. I'm thinking closer to Eureka, Ferndale, because it's real close up to where I used to live, and it's further in, and it's on. It looks like it's on a mountain ridge. Let me see. I'm trying to get this in close. In fact, let me throw this back up here for you guys. This is where it's at. The ocean is right there. I'm going to say Eureka is real close to there, but it looks like it's on top of a mountain. Maybe not. Boy, I'm getting this up super close for you guys to see. And don't give me no cities, so it doesn't help. You don't know where it's at. It looks like, wow. Let's back it up. It's pretty far in from the ocean, but I'm thinking it's up. And I'm not even going to take a guess. But it's closer to the top of the state, or closer to Eureka. Let's see, that would be up around. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the cities up north. Wairika, maybe up there. It's closer to. Uh, I'm going to say. Um, Wairika is the only thing I could think of up there. Chico, I think it's above Chico. It's up past Paradise. What's up past there? I used to live there, but it's been like 15 years now. So, but keep an eye on Northern California today. So, on with my other stuff. Oh boy. Um, okay, now the storm that hit western Alaska. Um, now I've got picture. Let me show you a picture to show you how deep this is. This is what Alaska was looking at, and I just don't understand why it didn't come up on the news. There was nothing about it, and they said this was Saturday evening, and there is no reports of injuries or deaths so far, but the storm has torn across hundreds of miles Alaska coastline and impacting communities along the way. Now, Alaska is described um, flooding areas, but they said Saturday night, as the levels drop, more damage could be revealed. Now, the national weather climatologist Brian Brett Schneider described the storm on Saturday as the worst that he's ever seen. And it was the remnants of Typhoon Merbok that no one ever talked about. So I'm trying to see if there's any pictures. But like they said, no injuries, but that flooding pretty much shows you what people were dealing with up there. And then we know about the earthquake that hit Mexico. Um, and there's many hurt, and they said it struck at 1 p.m. Eastern time, or 2 p.m. Eastern time, on the coast and the border of Macoan and the neighboring state of Coloma. The USGS said the quake relatively shallow, only about 9 meters deep, and it would have amplified the shaking. So, Susan, if your question would have been, does things shake more? Is they're on the surface? Yes, they do. If they're deeper, they don't. I don't know. We've had deep ones in California, and when you're in it, everything shakes. I mean, it will rock a car, no problem. Um, Now, our vehicle, by the time we got out of the apartment and out to where our car was, the shaking had stopped. But the weird thing is, you could hear the sirens, the car alarms going off, like in waves. So, and that's about pretty much what their report said on here, is just to say there was, a little shaking, since it was wasn't so deep, that the shaking seemed worse, which it will damage buildings, but when you have more of a surface, that's when you see more damage to buildings in itself. Like when we seen the San Francisco earthquake during the let's see, it was the 1989 World Series, and that's when the Nimbus smushed. Uh, it was more of a surface, so they had more damage. And of course, you see more damage to bridges in this case. You'll see them collapse in weak sections of the bridges, and that's why they fall. Is those are weak portions of bridges that should have been fixed under our infrastructure bill, but they don't do that because they know about these weak areas. And of course, when you're driving across, the earthquake hits, you don't know, and if that piece goes down, you go. And that's what we've seen during the '89 earthquake out there. And you definitely, if you are in an apartment, get the hell out. If you're on the bottom floors. If you're first floor and you feel the first bit of rumble, get the heck out. You do not want to be in the lower floors of an apartment complex. So people in California, have some water ready, get your dog leashes, get your purse by the door, we do it differently here with tornadoes. You want to put everything close to the door as you can. Maybe even park your car on the street for the day so that if you're around a building that could collapse, it doesn't land on your car. So anyway, with that, I'm going to move on. So on this day in history, okay, we're ready for some better news. Of all things, Billie Jean King wins the Battle of the Sexes, and that happened September 20th, 1973. A husky keeps a watch over the neighbor's house. And this dog is in Glendale, Arizona, and it's a husky. And she's no ordinary little husky. They said that the neighbors love her, and she has been dubbed Neighborhood Watch because she watches over everybody's houses and have even went after suspected robbers or people that don't need to be in the neighborhood. And how does she watch it? From the roof of her house. She has become the neighborhood roof watcher, they say. Roof, not rough. And I got to show you a picture of her on this roof. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show the video, but there she is on the roof, and I'm gonna push my luck. You could see this. There she is running across the roof.
Can be seen from the lap dogs across
So, and I'm not going to show much of it so I don't get in no trouble. But that is the roof watcher. And of course, the neighborhood feels very safe, and other dogs, because if other dogs are running loose, she protects all the little dogs in the neighborhood. So what a great little dog. All right, so beer lovers, beware. Consuming just one beer can make you attractive to every mosquito for miles. Yeah, they love that beer. And that's what the scientists are saying. And a lot of people didn't know about this. So if you are in the backyard and you're with your friends in the barbecue and you consume a few beers, just one beer, boy, you might attract every mosquito in the backyard. Sit closer to the Centronella little burner in your backyard, or Centronella candles. So that's what they say. So drink a Coke. Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know, but you're the number one target, and they have like they have a target on your head, on your back, and on your arms and your legs. And here comes the skeeters. All right, so the Arctic fox found in Saudi Daisy. They rescued last week a woman believes she had a silver fox pawing at her back door trying to get inside. And when she opened the door, she found out it was a little Arctic fox. And it was likely obtained by someone in the area as a pet. It didn't have a microchip, so no one knows who it belongs to. But it's acting a pet like it's a human-friendly pet. And of course, the rehabilitators for the area said they can't just go and release this little guy back into the wild and say, there you go, little guy, go on. When they're made a pet, they have to take care of it. And of course, they are running pictures and um, um, uh, they basically they're running pictures of it to see if whose fox this is. They're not in no trouble. They just need to get it back to its owner as a pet again, and they said it's very friendly. Now they're not sure, but they say he's probably escaped from his home and basically went to the neighbors because the neighbors got chicken and eggs, and that's what it was after. And they said it so far it's very friendly, and of course it's an exotic pet, and that they make really good pets, folks. But so it's not uncommon for anybody to purchase a fox as a pet, but they're saying don't do it because you could run into problems and like this would happen. And there's a good possibility someone might cage it up or catch it and then turn it out to the wild, which is very detrimental to these pets. So, um, so a missing New York cat takes off, and they hadn't seen the cat for, they said, a couple weeks. And it was an 8-year-old short-haired gray cat that they had been missing for a week, and they looked and they couldn't find this cat. And they were all sitting there one evening on, they say on the August 14th, um, and the doorbell rang. And so they looked to see who was at the door, and they didn't see anybody there. And lo and behold, they opened the door, and there's the cat. The cat had rang the doorbell. It had an opportunity and a way to ring the doorbell. So of course, here we go, the doorbell ringer cat. And of course, they were glad to see her after being missing for a week, but they thought it was kind of hilarious that she rang the doorbell. Normally, they say she scratches a little bit and meows, and it's usually at their sliding glass door. But this cat went right to the front door and rang the doorbell and said, I'm home. Uh, great stuff there. All right. Now, I know you guys are dying for this, um, our funny list. And today, cheap medical plans. Oh, you don't want a cheap medical plan, that's for sure. You know, and I think I've done these, but I'm going to go ahead and go through them. We know the pedal powered dialysis machine, and don't use antibiotics deemed unauthorized experimental procedures. A head wound victim in the waiting room is on its last chapter of War and Peace. I guess they gave it to her. And now be careful, because if you ask for Viagra, you get a popsicle stick and duct tape. What the heck? Okay. Annual breast exam is conducted at Hooters. Exam room has a tip jar. You swear you saw tongs and a crab fork on the instrument tray just before anesthesia kicked in. Boy, I could tell you about anesthesia. I have a hearing loss in my ear. And boy, you guys are going to love this quacky doctor story. Karen and my sister know this one. So I go in and I get surgery done on my elbow because I broke my elbow. And so I come out and I've got a little bit of bleeding in my ear. And I say, what is that from? And they said they didn't know. And that if it's got worse, I could get an appointment with the doctor. And I get home and it's still kind of bleeding. And I'm thinking, how the heck am I having bleeding in my ear from my elbow? And so I called and they said, well, it could be, the anesthesia. They may be giving you too much, or, it does, you can have those complications. So I go to the doctor and quack, quack. This one I quacked at, folks. So she looks in my ear and she says, oh, we gotta rinse that out. I said, rinse what out? And she said, your ear. And I said, well, yeah, there's probably dried blood in there. And she says, oh no, there's a scab and we have to get rid of the scab to find out what's wrong. So they completed to flood my ear for an hour before I said, I can't take this no more. And she said, we don't have it off. And she said, what did you stick in your ear? And I said, I didn't stick nothing in my ear. I was in surgery. And she goes, well, you know what I think? I think you got a hold of a pin in surgery from somewhere and you stuck it in your ear and popped your eardrum. And I said, I was out. How did I do that? She says, people do the strangest things when they're having surgery done. She goes, and if you didn't do it, then maybe someone in there got a hold of their pin and they popped your eardrum for you. And I went quack, 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 and I got up and left. So anyway, let's go on. This is cheap medical plans. Will you be paying in eggs or pelts? Tight budget prevents acquisition of separate thermometers. Huh. Oh, that's scary. Take 2 leeches and call me in the morning. The company logo features a hand squeezing a bleeding turnip. Okay. Tongue depressors taste faintly like fudgesicles or 50-50 bars. Oh boy, when's the last time you had a 50-50 bar? Covered postnatal care consists of leaving your baby on Mia Farrow's doorstep. Prenatal vitamin prescription is a box of Tic Tacs. Okay. The chief surgeon graduated from the University of Benihana. Directions to your doctor's office include take a left when you enter the trailer park. Oh boy, that's scary. You never know what you could find in a trailer park. Okay. Doctor listens to your heart through a paper towel tube. Oh, I like that one. Boy, oh boy, that's a good one. Only item listed under preventative care feature covered is an apple a day. Only participating physicians are Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine. Where'd that come from? Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine. Come on, y'all. You guys know. I know I heard it, but I can't remember where I heard it from. Our only proctologist is in the plan is Gus from Roto-Rooter. The plan only covers group gynecological exams. Pre-printed prescription pads say, walk it off, candy ass. I don't know. Can I curse? Mary knows. Mary knows if I'm allowed to curse or not. I read it. It was on there. I'm only reading. All right. To avoid time-consuming and expensive throat culture, the doctor just French kisses you. Well, I guess he calls you in the morning and says he's sick. I don't know. Recycle bandages with hair. Oh boy, that's scary. You can get your flu shot as soon as the hypodermic needle is dry. Your primary care physician is wearing the pants you gave to Goodwill last month. 24-hour claims line is 1-800-TOUGH-LUCK. Costly MRI's equipment efficiently replaced by an oversized 2-sided copier. Okay. Oh boy. An enema, the lavatory faucet swivels to face upwards. Okay. All right. So the next one, and we'll get through these quickly. This is evaluation comments. If you're getting an evaluation at work, maybe this will help. Average is not too bright. Exceptionally well qualified means has committed no major blunders to date. Active socially, it means you drink heavily. Zealous attitude, it means you're opinionated. Okay, character above reproach. Still one step ahead of the law. All right, unlimited potential. Oh boy, I've written that one out. will stick with us until retirement. I don't know if I thought that when I filled that out. Uh, Quick thinking offers plausible excuses for errors. Takes pride in work. Means you're conceited. Yep. Takes advantage of every opportunity to progress. Buys drinks for the office managers. Boy, I needed that one. Indifferent to instruction. Seems to know more than their superiors. Stern disciplinarian. A real jerk. Um, Approaches difficult problems with logic, finds someone else to do the job. If they're a keen analysis, thoroughly confused. Yep. Expresses self will, can string two sentences together. Boy, that'd be a hard one, huh? For some of them. I won't. I won't go there though. Um, uh, let's see, demonstrates qualities of leadership, has a loud voice. Judgment is usually sound. It means they're lucky. Keen sense of humor, knows a lot of dirty jokes and dirty places and dirty magazines. Yikes. Okay. Slightly below average means they're stupid. Hmm. Boy, how many people have had that one on their evaluation? Uh, of great value to the organization, turns in work on time, is unusually loyal, wanted by no one else, alert to company developments. They're the office gossiper. They're a hard worker, usually does it the hard way. Okay. Enjoys the job, needs more to do. Happy, they paid too much. Well organized means it does too much busy work. Um, will go far relative of management. Well, of course, yeah. If you're the sister of the boss, yeah, you're going to go far in that company. Uses time effectively. That is a clock watcher. Very creative. Finds 22 reasons to do anything except original work. Uses resources well. It means they're a good delegate for everything. Deserves a promotion. Create a new title to make him or her feel appreciated. So there you have it, folks. And that is our show for today. And boy, I'm barely got time to fill out info for the new show, and I got a lot of news, especially an update in Ukraine that you'll want to watch. My reporters on the ground are back in there, and they're in Donbass. Um, so join us in a few minutes, about 10 minutes. And of course, I'm glad you came today, and I hope I gave you enough info about the earthquakes and the hurricanes. Be very careful on the West Coast today. It could just ping pong back across to Papua New Guinea, or it could even go south to South America. Please subscribe and hit the like button, hit that bell for sure. And over in Facebook, hit the follow and the like button. Always hit that like button. We need more likes. That's what not only YouTube's telling me, but Facebook. And they said, you get more likes, we're going to put you in the mainstream. So with that, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And we will see you either tomorrow morning, or we'll see you for the news show. There is no show tonight. And hopefully you'll go back and watch a little bit of the Generations of Zeus that we had on last night with Legends of Myths and Monsters. So with that, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And you know what? On the bright side, boy, what about the toilet paper roll for the listening as a stethoscope? Think of that today and get a giggle. We're here to put a giggle in your heart and maybe laughter in your step and make you, enjoy today a little bit more. Have a wonderful day, folks. Bye-bye.